Hello. If you're new to this YouTube channel, then you're probably wondering from what you're seeing on the screen how you got to this side of YouTube. In this video, I'll be discussing the importance of what is a Pretendian and what is a Wabo, and what damage can they cause to the Native American community, and what are the solutions to stop them. A Pretendian is a non-Native American who is most of the time of European, Canadian, or American descent, that has zero Native American ancestry and no connections to any tribes, but takes on a native tribal identity anyway. Whether he or she is taking on the identity of a Lakota or a Cherokee. Now, what are the reasons for this? Many of them are often related to monetary gain, possibly to gain a higher political status in the government system, and to take away the services of Native Americans that desperately need these services. A person that could be considered a Pretendian would be Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren often, when filling out a government race census form, would say that she's Native American. Elizabeth Warren, unfortunately, does not practice any Native American culture and was eventually called out on saying that she was Native American during the 2016 presidential election by President Donald Trump. Elizabeth Warren responded by immediately taking a DNA test to prove that she was of Native American descent. Unfortunately for Miss Warren, she found out that she had one very far distant Native American ancestor. Warren eventually apologized for taking the DNA test and also apologized for identifying as Native American as her ethnicity. She believed that she never intended to gain a higher political standing for saying that she was Native American. There is speculation onto how far this ancestor was from Elizabeth Warren when she had taken her test. Johnny Depp could also be considered a Pretendian as well. Depp had dressed up as a Native American in a character in the movie called Lone Ranger, appropriating a Native American identity. When questioned about Native American ancestry, Depp said that his grandma likely had Cherokee or Creek ancestry because he had lived in Kentucky. This was proven false. Depp did not have any Native American ancestry and never discussed having Native American ancestry with anyone. Depp eventually took back his comments regarding his Native American identity that he had because of whatever DNA he possessed. Another person of contention could be Carrie Barossa. Carrie claimed to be of Métis Indigenous ancestry and also a part of the community in Canada. Carrie worked as a health expert, Indigenous health expert in Canada, where she received benefits for her false claim and also appeared in a TEDx video discussing the importance of her Native American identity. When research was done on Carrie, thanks to a team of academics, Carrie was found that she had no Native American ancestors in her family tree. Carrie said that she thought that her great-grandfather was of Native American descent. Carrie has since went into hiding and has not been seen or heard of since being exposed. So I think it's very visible now to understand that these Pretendians not only contribute to Native American ethnocide, but they take away the important funding services from Native Americans that need these services. It's important to expose these types of people because the more this continues, the more Native Americans are put at a disadvantage. Now, getting on to Wabos. Wabos come in a different form than Pretendians because the term Wabo was coined by an African American, believing that they are the Aboriginal people of the Americas, They believe that Africans were the first people in the Americas and that Native Americans are from Asia and Siberia and have no place in the Americas whatsoever. Not only do they make these extremely disastrous and false claims, but they also believe that Olmecs and Mayan people possess African physical characteristics, such as the lips and hair. They also use the false claim that Spanish conquistadors and Christopher Columbus had saw these indigenous people in 1492 as black. Therefore, they believe that Africans must have been the initial people, Aboriginal people of the American continents. All of this is false. There are archaeologists and historians debunking all of these so called facts. Not only is this extremely silly, but also greatly contributes to Native American ethnocide. I say this because there are several YouTube channels out with many, many, many followers, subscribers, that also believe these claims that Native Americans are Asians. The names of these YouTube channels are Aboriginal TV. Another YouTube channel is ran by Dane Calloway, along with another channel ran by Dr. Umar Johnson. They all make claims that Native American people are not the original inhabitants of the Americas and that African people are. It's important to call out these YouTube channels because they're contributing to Native American ethnocide, and also YouTube has done nothing to remove these channels. They still run. Now, many of us may wonder why these YouTube channels still are not taken down. And again, the question is as good as mine. It's important to highlight these problematic issues because, again, the more these people are able to run amok, these channels are able to gain more of a following, the more damaging it is for Native American communities to thrive when there's people believing that they don't belong in a place that their ancestors have called home for thousands of years. We can't forget also the legal ramifications of what these Pretendians and Wabos are doing as well. Now that I've given you the proper information regarding these issues, I hope you can all walk away from this video more informed on these current problems going on through Indigenous communities throughout the United States, Canada, and through the Americas. If you liked my video, please give it a like, subscribe if you'd like, and until next time, take care.